Does your child's hearing get a passing grade? Before you know it, kids will soon be heading back to school, and it's important to make sure that they have all the tools they need to succeed this year, including proper hearing health. Allentown hearing care professional Dennis Shrive from Miracle Ear is here with some advice for parents. Dennis, good morning.
Good morning.
Thanks for being with us. Let's talk a little bit about, I know we were talking before today, and you had told me 17% of all Americans, many of them kids, are affected by hearing loss. What causes it in young people in particular?
In most young people would be loud noise, earbuds in the new MP3 players and things like that, infections, right, and exposure to loud sounds such as lawnmowers and things that we take for granted every day. So, we don't realize it's damaging our hearing, and once it does, it's permanent.
Okay.
And if it goes undetected, then it just keeps getting worse and worse.
And let's talk a little bit about the impact, Dennis, especially in kids as they head back to school.
Well, their learning isn't as sharp because they can't hear. Sometimes when they can't hear, the teacher may put them in the back of the room thinking they're being disobedient, when really it's just a hearing problem. And if they're aware of it, they usually move them up closer. Some children can get great help with the modern technology and hearing instruments, if necessary, that can be linked right to a little microphone that the teacher would wear. So if they get proactive and find out there's a problem, the child might have a better chance at learning and being non-isolated. Because if they get to the point where they're not learning at that level, they stop being committed to what they're doing.
Okay, and it can also delay speech, right? That's another.
See, they get tested as infants before they leave the hospital. Their next test usually isn't until about first grade.
Okay.
So maybe at the age of 5, before they were to enter kindergarten, it'd be a good time to have them tested, because if there is something happening, they can try to treat it.
Okay, so there's often a little gap there as far as monitoring. Let's talk a little bit about some warning signs that parents can look for that could alert them to a problem.
If the children say things are sounding muffled or soft, or if they mention that they're having ringing or buzzing in their ears, right? Or they just don't understand conversation, answer the question wrong, they should have it looked into. The first step, I would say, would be go to the pediatrician or the physician and have them check to make sure it's not a medical problem. Okay. Then the second step phase would be us or someone like us doing a hearing test to rule out or to find out what's the problem.
Okay, so a good idea for moms and dads to be proactive, especially if their child falls in that gap that you talked about. Let's talk about some things parents can do to protect their kids' ears. The first thing is get those checkups, right? That's important.
Regular checkups are fine. If they're going to family events, like taking the kids to, say, like an auto race, they should take earplugs.
Okay.
If they're at a concert, they have earplugs.
Okay.
I know it seems like a nuisance, but I wish I was aware of it, because when I was a kid, I did a lot of target shooting with my dad and everything, and we weren't aware of it. And now I wear 2 hearing instruments.
Oh, wow.
Right?
Okay.
And it was because of not knowing. I mean, the noise I was around damaged my hearing.
And even now, we're often blaring loud music, and I know you mentioned this briefly, but turn things down, right? That can have an impact.
When you turn things down, right, you should use the 60-60 method.
Okay, what's that?
60% of the volume for 60 minutes or less at a time. When you expose yourself to excessive noise for long periods of time, it's irreparable damage.
Okay.
And once that's done, the nerve endings cannot come back up. So it's not like, oh, the noise is gone, the ringing is stopped. You still have the hearing loss.
Okay. And let's talk about what parents can do. If they do identify a problem or notice some concern, is there hope for their kids? Are there any treatments available?
Here's what happens. Like I said, they should see the physician first with children, because you want to rule out a medical problem.
Right.
Then once, if it is a hearing problem, the hearing instruments today are amazing. They can be linked to smartphones, television, and as I said, even a microphone for the teacher. So, like I said, I wear 2 hearing instruments. You don't see anything. It doesn't have the stigma it did years ago where children don't want to do it.
Yeah.
And the first person that would probably contact the parent would be the school nurse.
Okay.
Because they do testing about every other year. And when they get that notice, they shouldn't ignore it, because a lot of parents say, it's just they weren't paying attention. Right. They should look into it a little further. Okay.
So it's good to know that there are so many options available. It's just identifying the problem that's key.
And the one thing they should know is that some people don't go forward with it because they think maybe I can't afford it. Well, at Miracle Ear, we have what we call the Miracle Ear Foundation.
Okay.
The Miracle Ear Foundation was formed in 1990. And since then, we've fit over 6,500 people with hearing instruments at no cost to them. Wow. If they meet the criteria, they can go on miracle-earfoundation.org and get the information. They may qualify. And if they do, we'd be glad to take care of them.
Okay, great. Dennis, good to know that some help is available. Thanks for helping us to identify some of the warning signs.
Thank you.
We appreciate it.
Thanks for having us.
You're welcome. And stay with us. We'll be right back.